Hello! It's going to be a great day today. 2 podcasts. If you missed it last two episodes, we started off run backs, top 20 fantasy run backs. We just finished our top 20 quarterbacks. And now we're on to our top 20 wide receivers for fantasy football. This is the Sideline. Make sure you go follow myself, your host, Addison, at _Olette31. My co-host,
Morgan Matz. Follow me at Twitter at MorganMatz1.
And yep, make sure you hit that follow. Follow us on Twitter. We're open for ideas. Tell us what your lists are, what topics we should be talking about. We're trying to stay connected with you guys, so we can bring stuff you guys want. But okay, let's start our list off like the style we've been going. We're going to go 20 to 11, do a 15 segment for that, and then 10 to 1, another 15 segment. So starting 20 to 11, do you want to kick it off or?
You go first.
Okay, 20. I have Brandon Cooks. 19, Alshon Robinson. Right, Alshon? No.
I'm not entirely sure what his first name is.
I might have just butchered that. God. But Robinson, now a Bear. Thielen, Hill's 17, so Jeffrey's 16. 15's Cooper. 14, T.Y. Hilton. 13, Diggs. 12, Josh Gordon. And 11, Doug Baldwin.
Alright, so my 20 to 11. At number 20, I have Larry Fitzgerald. 19, Kelvin Benjamin. 18, Juju Smith-Schuster. 17, Jarvis Landry. 16, Demaryius Thomas. 15, Doug Baldwin. 14, Stephon Diggs. 13, Tyreek Hill. 12, AJ Green. And 11, Golden Tate.
So, where do you want to start at this list? We've both got, I'd say, a different list.
Oh yeah, we're for sure different on this one. But we just talked about it. T.Y. Hilton, why do you have him so high?
Why have him so high?
Like, this guy cracks my top 5.
I have him low. You have him high.
Well, like, you know what I mean. Why do you have him so high on your list?
At 14?
At 14.
Well, 14, he's kind of... big issues. Luck. What was he on my QB? Luck was 14, so I thought Hilton 14. Hilton's a good wide receiver, but Hilton's a different wide receiver when Brissett's thrown to him, but then when Luck throws, it's like you see the difference. So I thought Hilton's a guy that, he's low. I know you're high on him, I'm low, but just that kind of Colts, what's Luck's status?
Yeah, that makes a big difference if your quarterback's healthy or if he's not healthy.
A quick kind of side note, who is your 21? Just missed it.
I almost wanted to put Jordy Nelson in this list too, because Jordy Nelson or Randall Cobb, because Randall Cobb was kind of like my 21, 22, and Jordy Nelson was on that stage too. Because why for Jordy Nelson? New team, maybe. Yeah, I'm saying it as Derek Carr has a better breakout season. He comes out off his injury and he's just like, I'm the man. But I also thought Randall Cobb, because A-Rod can't throw the ball to Adams every time.
He also has Jimmy Graham signed there.
I just think that, and Randall Cobb, he's not a
true one,
and he's not like a
poor man's two.
Not known guy. Like, he's a known guy to the league. He's not a bum. He's not going to be your third, fourth. Holy, this guy had a good game. Maybe he should move up in the chart. Nah, he's got a spot.
My 21 was Landry. which this now goes well into our next kind of thing I want to touch on. We both have Browns wide receivers, but you have Landry, I have Gordon.
I was super surprised to hear Gordon. Can he not
get into issues?
Issues. His big problem is
alcohol, and
he's always suspended.
But okay, since he's came back, have you heard his name? Have you been hearing that alcohol, the weed, any issue? No. You haven't heard that. And when Gordon was locked in, let me you go through why you had Landry. I'm going to pull up Gordon's
Why
stats.
I have Landry is because I think that Coleman, he's a surefire slot receiver.
Yep, I agree.
And I think Landry is the number one guy there. And I had Josh Gordon in my rearview mirror. He has been dead to me ever since he started doing the whole drugs and alcohol thing. He was a big time receiver at one time. Maybe the next big thing. Then all of a sudden, drugs and alcohol were more important than him than playing professional football. So I think bringing in Landry, a good target. He's proven that he's a number one guy. He's a little smaller than you want for your number one guy. But, hey, this year, it's Landry. But then next year, what happens if his buddy from his old college, OBJ, signs there?
Oh
my God.
Just pulling up Josh Gordon's stats. I think I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really heard. I think he might have been fighting some demons, fighting some issues. So he turned to alcohol and drugs for that. But 2013, this was Josh. Like, Gordon's still a young guy. What
year did he get drafted?
He was drafted 2012. So he is a young guy still. I'll search his age, but his 2013 season, 87 receptions, 1,646 yards, an 18.9 average with 9 touchdowns. And he still looks in shape. When he came out those 5 games, you could still see he was in shape. He was still good.
I know, but that's 4 years ago. That's 4 seasons. And at that time, he was the number one guy. Now there's Coleman coming up young and Landry. That 2 options that Gordon, I just don't see him as coming out as a 1,000-yard guy.
Gordon is 27. He is 27. I feel like he's being suspended. He's had all this issue. And I feel like he's going to be like, it's time to go back to old form. I'm quite high. I'm very high on him. I've got him at 12. Brandon Cooks. He just sneaked in 20 for me. Is he a later on guy?
Cooks didn't make my list. He was supposed to be something. He was really good in the Saints. Then he came over to New England. And really didn't show up there. And going from a guy, Drew Brees, good, like really good quarterback, to going to the GOAT, Tom Brady, and not showing up, like that throws huge red flags for me.
And it wasn't like how Belichick and Josh McDaniels weren't trying to get him involved. He was target plenty of time. Surprisingly, quiet 1,000-yard receiver. If you weren't a Patriot fan, would you even like myself? I knew it was, but not knowing.
I didn't know he got 1,000 yards this year. I didn't. Being a Steelers guy, I don't really like the Patriots, but so I didn't really follow their season. But just from watching like Super Bowl, he did get hurt off a dirty hit pretty early. But it's just like, you were really good. You were the guy in New Orleans, and then you came over here, and Danny Amendola looked better than you.
Yeah, I understand that. 19, I took a little peek at yours. I've got Robinson, and you've got...
I got Kelvin Benjamin at 19.
Is it... Who else is there for the Bills?
Is that where he plays now?
Yeah, he plays for the Bills.
Oh. Well, I don't know. Kelvin Benjamin's big guy. He uses his body. He's aggressive. He's not the fastest guy ever. Like, he's not gonna burn that corner like right off the draw. But like, big. You need that 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10. You need that catch. I'm throwing to Benjamin.
Understandable. Just taking a quick peek at my list. Anyone you want to address there or look at, talk about?
Amari Cooper at 15. What?
Are you higher? Does he crack your top 10? Or
Sure does.
Sure does.
Let me see your list again for a minute. Okay.
Cooper, it's been a trend. Cooper's been low for me because what's Oakland? Same with like last episode, Derek Carr was low. You were high on Derek Carr. It's just, what is John Gruden's plan? I don't know if I had Cooper last year. He was kind of disappointing. I don't know if I'll look at him for drafting, but he's a good guy.
One guy I'm for sure drafting that I don't think, maybe you, but I don't think anybody else is going to look at him, is underrated Doug Baldwin. I'm taking him.
Doug Baldwin's 11 for me.
I have him at 15. I have him a little higher on my list, but I just think that Doug Baldwin is so underrated, and I just think that he doesn't deserve, get the media hype or even the Madden rating that he should deserve.
So, but he's at 15. Looking at him for you, do you think he jumps those guys you've got in the head?
The more I look at it now, a guy like AJ Green for me is kind of a
Andy Dalton.
The Bengals itself. Is it time for AJ Green to say, I got a lot of talent. I need to go find somewhere where guys are going to get me the ball. Not the Bengals, who are pretty much a dying team. And
yeah,
I don't know. That's what I feel like for Josh Gordon too. I feel like he's in the rearview mirror for the Browns, and he just needs to start over, get a fresh start on a new team.
Yeah,
go somewhere. Not a team like the Jets. Like, you don't want to go for your career just to fall off. Go somewhere like the Seahawks say, where
Doug
Baldwin, Josh Gordon,
and Brandon Marshall
and B. Marsh, or maybe Gordon to revive his career. Not a bad choice going to New England. Tom Brady has turned in some pretty guys that are no-name guys drafted in high rounds, and all of a sudden they're superstars. Julian Edelman,
7th round quarterback pick,
who was Julian Edelman before he went to New England?
True. Jeffrey's 16 for me.
Jeffrey cracks my top 10.
Big issue for me is when Carson Wentz and Jeffrey were playing, there was a connection there. Issue is, when's Carson back? If Nick Foles even has to play a little game, is it going to be slow start for Wentz? It's just kind of a caution. Thielen
didn't even make my list. I think that Diggs is going to get the points there. I think Thielen is a guy, if I was going to take him, he would be one of those guys that are on my bench until they're playing a team with a weak DB core, and I'm going to put him in and hope for those 15, 20 points as my number 2 guy or my number 3 guy. I'm not gonna start him every game as my number 1 guy and be like, he's my guy. Against the top secondaries in the league, I just don't think Thielen cracks my list.
Here's a guy who makes my top 10. He barely makes your list. List. Fitzgerald. Larry Fitz.
Fitzgerald. Like I say, I like my vets, but as a wide receiver, what's he in his 14th or 15th year in the league?
Yeah. But he still looks like the old Larry Fitz. He's not as explosive, but he's still as good.
He may not be as explosive, but I'm not worried about that. I'm worried more like he's getting up in age.
Injury bug?
There's some guys that are coming up, young guys, who can hit. So if he just comes over and all of a sudden, boom, my bones are shattered. I just don't think that. And also, I really don't think he's the number one guy. I don't think how old he is.
There's no one else.
I know, but like on any other team, I don't think he's a number one guy. I think he's your vet number 2. And another guy, like, I think that he just needs to. I know he wants to win one, but like, you're gonna end up like Vincent Jackson, free agency, no one wants you, and then you're just gonna have to retire.
No. For Fitz, I think he's going to stay with the Cardinals until he dies or retires. Won't leave that franchise. I'll explain why he's a little higher for me. Did we touch on Tyreek Hill? I have him at 17. You have him at...
I have Tyreek at 13.
Fast.
He's so explosive. He's so fast. And with Mahomes being a strong-armed quarterback, I think he's going to want to be on the highlight reel, and he's going to throw deep, and those are big points. When he gets an 80-yard TD, those are big points.
But that's the reason why he's at 17 for me. It's Patrick Mahomes is a...
Yeah, that's true. Young guy. But, like, I know it's because I'm a Steeler fan, but no Juju on your team? Can't throw the ball to Brown every time. Juju's at 18 on my list. If I have the chance and I have Brown on my team, I'm taking Juju too.
Really? You're going...
I'm taking 2 Steelers.
Does he start? Or is he the third?
Juju's one of those guys that, again, depending on who we're playing and if Brown gets hurt in the season, there goes my guy.
Yep.
And then Big Ben Juju's got to step up, fill that role, and become the number one guy. And I truly think that he's got the potential to step in there and be the number one guy. He had a huge rookie season.
Yeah, I'm just looking for a guy that none of us, we didn't have him in our rankings. But a guy I was just thinking about, maybe as a quiet guy, here's what I'm thinking. Will Fuller could be a sleeper. He's not on our list. I just thought of him. He might kind of crack that list. But when he was playing with Deshaun Watson, from week 4 to 8, that connection, that kind of 4-game connection, 15 points, 17 points, 12 points by 24.
So if you're saying that connection, if that heats up again, does that affect your later pick in DeAndre Hopkins?
If I didn't get DeAndre Hopkins, I'd be looking at Will Fuller. I'd be looking at him as my...
But you would take Hopkins first over Fuller?
Yes.
Okay.
But he's one of those guys, I know we kind of passed the who didn't make it in, but I was just kind of looking, I was like, and I started thinking, Will Fuller, could be a decent guy. Do you feel like we touched everyone that you want to?
Yeah, I'm ready to go for 10-1.
Okay, so we're about to hit, again, agree with us, disagree, tweet us. Our Twitters we talked about at the start of the show. Now we're going to 10-1. Am I starting it, or would you like to?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Number 10, I got Devontae Adams. Number 9, Amari Cooper. Number 8, Big Mike Evans. Number 7, Alshon Jeffrey. 6, Michael Thomas. 5, T.Y. Hilton. Number 4, Julio Jones. 3, Odell Beckham Jr., 2, DeAndre Hopkins, and number 1, a Steeler, Antonio Brown.
Okay. Now, starting with 10 to 1 for me. 10, Fitzgerald. 9, Evans. 8, Adams. 7, Green. 6, Michael Thomas. 5, Julio Jones. 4, Keenan Allen. 3, OBJ. 2, Hopkins. And number 1, Antonio Brown.
You know, I don't think we need to go into a huge conversation on Antonio Brown. He's a surefire number 1 guy. If you have the chance for him, you're taking him. He's just a reliable guy that's going to score TDs.
Yep, I agree with that. I want to touch on someone that I don't think you had. I want to talk about Keenan Allen.
When you said Keenan Allen there, I completely neglected him. I was just looking at my list, and I'm like, man, Alshon Jeffrey, I don't even know if he's in the top 10 anymore for me. That may be a Keenan Allen spot.
So, like, when we did our quarterbacks, my Rivers, Matt Ryan mix up there.
Yeah, I never even thought of Keenan Allen. He's so good.
Mike Evans. Mike Evans is another guy I'd like to talk about.
Mike Evans, I really enjoy Mike Evans.
Fan.
He's big time. I liked him when he was in Texas A&M with Money Manziel.
Oh my god.
I just liked him. But like, just speaking of Mike Evans' team, quarterback issue.
Yep, that's...
So your first 3 games are Fitzpatrick is your quarterback.
Yeah.
But also, I almost did in my list. I almost put Deshaun Jackson in here, just because
I got burnt by that fire. I was burnt by that fire because I was thinking Deshaun Jackson, and Mike Evans. I was thinking that could be a good Jackson take the top off. No, I got burnt.
But with Jameis Winston healthy, and with him not having off-season troubles, off-the-field troubles, Mike Evans is a dominant player. I don't know if he will be that standard with a guy like Fitzpatrick, because it's Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
So,
but
maybe
he can make his magic. Look at that Jets season.
Maybe that's a spot for Nick Foles.
I was thinking about it. Could be.
You know, maybe the Bucs are like, okay, Winston, like, what are you doing? We thought you were this guy, but we're going a different direction. And Nick Foles showed that he can be the number 1 guy again, and I think him and Mike Evans will gel.
Yep.
Because to me, Mike Evans is just like a bigger Alshon Jeffrey. To me,
yep.
He's bigger in like size wise. He's stronger. I would say he's maybe a step slower, maybe, but
Michael Thomas, we both agree. I wish I would have gotten my hands on him. He gets the target, he gets the catches, and not only is he a possession, like he'll make the for sure catch Drew Brees is looking for, but also he's able to run afterwards, which is that's why I have him at 6.
Definitely Michael Thomas. Last year I didn't even know about him. I just thought, dang, Drew Brees is done. He got nobody. And then he goes out, Michael Thomas does his thing. I'm like, wow, I really messed up. He's definitely a guy that I'm looking for this year.
Hopkins, I've got him at 2, you got him 2. I think he's making the steps.
Hopkins
does it with no matter whoever's throwing his ball.
Whoever's his quarterback, he can just
plays.
Do his thing. He can just play. Now, I don't know if Antonio Brown could do that. Do you think he could do that? Because if Mason Rudolph comes in and Antonio Brown is nowhere to be seen, in my mind, DeAndre Hopkins moves up as number 1 guy.
I feel like Brown. I definitely think Brown makes Big Ben better. So
Brown makes Big Ben look like he's
still a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, when, I did have him 10 on my list, but, he could have been easily 11 or 12.
Yeah.
But, a guy I want to check out, Odell, coming off an injury. Is Odell going to be as flashy and as in tune with the game as he was when he was not hurt?
My big thing with Odell is I saw some video on Instagram. He was dunking. Okay, you're dunking. That looks like, okay, you're looking good on the leg. But not only that, we've seen an Odell. I don't know if he's been really motivated. He's been motivated because he wants to prove he's number one. So he's been putting up the touchdowns. He's been putting up the yards. Okay, he's motivated to be the number one wide receiver. Let's take that. Let's also add the fact that it's his contract year this year. We talked about Aaron Rodgers being a bad man, being wanted to say, "Hey, I'm it." What about Odell? Odell could come out being like, "Boom, here's my yards. Here's double digit touchdowns. I want to get paid." That's why I have him at 3. I think he's going to come out and he's going to be a man on a mission.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I always thought that Odell was going to play his last year in the Giants this year and go and meet up his buddy Landry at the Browns. That's what I think is going to happen with him. But I still think he's not going to be a bum. He's not going to be, "I'm leaving this year. I don't care anymore." No, he's still going to put up those big numbers because he wants everybody to know, when I come out onto free agency, I want to get paid.
Yeah.
It's not I had 3 good seasons or 4 good seasons in a row, and then I don't care about this one. I'm going to a different team.
Yeah.
He wants big money. He's going to put up big yards.
Julio Jones.
Julio came off a bad season this year.
3 touchdowns. He only caught 3 touchdowns last year.
He's one of those guys that can...
He gets the yards.
He gets yards, even 3 touchdowns, but he's one of those guys that he can be on fire or he can be nowhere. He's a nobody. And also, but if I'm looking at it as, in Matt Ryan's eyes, 10 seconds left on the clock, I'm looking for Julio.
Yeah.
He's going to get it done.
Took a quick look at your list. T.Y. Hilton. I want to hear...
I think that Andrew Luck is going to be the same as Aaron Rodgers. Not as intense, but he wants to be... I'm a guy. I'm there.
Because there is hype. That's the division with Deshaun Watson. You got the Jags, you got the Colts, and you got Tennessee. So there's some buzz around those teams, and people, I think...
He wants people to know that he is not a bum, and he is not going to back down easily. And I think...
T.Y. being
his only really primary weapon is going to have a huge year this year because he's coming out and he's just producing. He's just saying, this is my division. Get out of here, boys, get out of my way because I'm going.
Okay, I'll touch on 10. Gerald, right quick. When we were discussing how you felt like he'd be a 2 on any other team right now.
Yep.
I feel like he's a number 1 he's the clear number 1 for the Cardinals. And not only that, there's no one else. You got Sam Bradford, who's going to be wanting to trust Larry Fitz to throw the ball, which any quarterback would.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And not only if Sam Bradford goes down with an injury, you have the young quarterback Josh Rosen coming in, and Larry Fitz may be like, "Hey, I'm open. You can trust me," and maybe that becomes a duo. I just feel like Larry Fitz, we're in an 8-man league, so looking at Fitz is a second wide receiver for you. On my list, could you view Fitz as a second wide receiver, or would you be like, no,
Fitz is more of a guy. Being in an 8-man league, I personally am not taking Fitz.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it. There's a lot
I wouldn't. I just kind of... Who
But
else?
like maybe if one of my guys have a bye week and Fitz is on the free agency, he's maybe a guy I look more into and see what he's producing this year for fantasy points, how many targets he's getting, and what team he's playing. Then maybe I'm like, okay, I pick him up for my off week. Say I have a DeAndre Hopkins. He's on a bye week. Maybe that's my guy. I switch.
Yeah. Looking 10 to 1, 1 to 10. Anyone else you're wanting to touch on? Or
So you have without, like what we did with Rodgers, Brown's gone, DeAndre's gone, Odell's gone. Who are you taking as your 1 and 2 guy?
So doing the same thing. So from 4 to 10, then 11 to 20.
Yep.
So Brown's gone, Hopkins gone, and OBJ.
Yep.
Because I think Michael Thomas. It's a big debate for Michael Thomas or Keenan Allen. That's what I'm trying to go through. And then 11 to 20. Doug Baldwin.
I'm telling you. For me, it's a toss-up between T.Y. Hilton and Devontae Adams. Devontae was good last year. He was putting up points. My brother had him last year, and he saved him in a lot of games. And for my 11 to 20, it's a toss-up. I want to say Juju because I'm a Steelers fan. I also want to say Doug Baldwin because I think he's underrated. But I also want to say Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I see that too. So let's do another thing that we've done before. Looking at if Brown isn't being picked as the first wide receiver, who is?
Really, in our league, depends who's drafting. Some guys will definitely go with a DeAndre Hopkins. Some guys are definitely just going to go for Odell.
That's where I think. I think they pick Odell before Hopkins.
Odell is Odell's a bigger name, and he gets the one-hand catches, and he's all over the internet and all over TSN all the time. And there's some guys in our league that are just like, Odell's a god. He can catch with one hand. He's my number one if I had the choice.
One guy that you think might go under the radar.
I have him as 16 on my list, but I think Demaryius Thomas. I think that with just the quarterback, like they have Keenum now, but just from previous years, him not putting up big numbers because of quarterback issues, I just think some people just think, yeah, his career is pretty much getting to its end. So I think that he's just going to get pushed to the side.
One guy that is also in my top 10 that I feel like maybe some people might be sleeping on, Michael Thomas. I don't think his name's quite out there. I think you and I, maybe my dad would look at him to draft him. But I feel like some of those other guys may kind of let him slip and not really...
Yeah, they're not going to be looking at Thomas. For those other guys, they're just looking at...
names they know.
Names that are big names that come up all the time. Like a Brown, an OBJ, a Julio Jones.
And, okay, so we've done a guy who, if Brown isn't number one, who's it going to be? And then also, the slider. Who'd be a riser? Who'd be a guy you'd think would rise quite a bit for your team? Not your team, but other guys drafting.
Well, on my list, I have Diggs as 14, but I think that some guys will think that he should be in the top 10.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm going Diggs. I thought Diggs would.
And again, I also think that for AJ Green, just because he's a house name, and some people just draft the house name guys, they don't look at stats or look at past seasons, they just draft the house name guys. And I think that Greens he will slide up just because what his name is.
Okay. So think we've touched everything we've wanted or
I'm good.
get? Well, thank you for listening to this episode of The Sideline. Any discussion, anything like that, tweet me at @A_Olet31.
Or you can tweet me at MorganMance1.
And thank you for listening, and tune in next week.